quick so that you have a lot of time to work on this assignment during class so that it's not homework. So again, I call this assignment, if you give a blank, a blank. So how many of you, and I have a bunch of them, I forgot to pull out of the cupboard this morning, how many of you grew up on these little children's books, right? And they're cute, but we're going to do like the funny version of these. But my sister worked at Chick-fil-A in high school, and they gave these away in the kids' meals, so I got a bunch of them. If you give a mouse a cookie, if you give a moose a muffin, if you give a pig a pancake. So I know this is like dumb little kids, but we're going to make it silly and more like middle school level. So if you didn't already open this link, do it right now, and it's going to bring you to your actual assignment, okay? So again, we are on if you give a blank, open up the link, and it's going to bring you to right here. Okay. I'm going to explain pretty quick, but I do want your attention, so whatever you're trying to finish, just finish it in a minute. Let's turn our screens facing forward. Screens facing forward, 3. Face them forward, 2. Remember, you get more candy if you're quick about this, and 1. Okay, so if you give a blank, there are so many funny options on this one. So you could do the simple method, which is picking your favorite animal. Like, I really love penguins because they waddle, and I think it's funny. And then you pick an object or a thing that starts with the same letter. So like if you give a penguin a popsicle, right? But you could also do a funny one. Like if you give a Sasquatch a surfboard. You also don't have to make it like cutesy like that. I've gotten some really funny examples in the past. Like if you give a teenager a cell phone. Or one kid one year did if you give a grandma an Instagram account. Or if you give an ogre, like Shrek, if you give an ogre an onion. This is a funny one. If you give a cannibal a vegetable, right? See how you can make it really, really silly? I get a lot of these ones, and they are hilarious. If you give a chicken nugget, right? It's like chicken cannibalism. So anything goes. You get to pick the funny thing you want to do. And then here's how to get an A on this assignment. It's really easy. This is your cover page. So you would take a picture from Google. You would have the title at the top, and you are the author at the bottom. And here's what the pages of your book look like. So here's how to get an A. You fill in the sentence, screens facing forward, remember screens facing forward. You fill in the sentence, and you can change it. Like if it says I gave a, but you want to change one of the words, that's totally fine. Change it however you need to. And then you just take a picture from Google. And guys, the pictures are way less important than the actual writing. So definitely focus more on the writing and less on the pictures. The pictures don't need to be perfect. Like just something that supports the writing. But I've had some kids get really concerned that they can't find the perfect picture to go along with the writing. That doesn't matter at all. So just something, and it could be something funny. Like you can use school-appropriate memes. You can find funny pictures from Google and put different ones together. Like anything goes. So if you give a blank, it's kind of all about cause and effect. If I do this, then this happens. So I have to do this, then it leads to this. Some of you might have personification, which is our I can statement today. But honestly, if you don't have personification in your story, it's not the end of the world, for real. I'm not going to take away any points. So you just keep filling in the blanks. I do this, and it leads to this, and then it leads to this, and then that leads to this. And then, this is the part that confuses everybody, but it's really simple, so listen carefully. So I'm going to have you take your story. Like, let's say you were doing if I give a chicken nugget, right? And I filled in these 4 pages. Then, with the same character, you're going to give that character a new problem. Like, what's a new problem I could give a chicken, guys? Shout it out. I don't care. KFC! Oh, if I send a chicken to KFC. Boom. So, same character, but a new problem. So, you still are going to do the same looking pages, but it's just the next part of the story. Okay? That's it. That's all you do. Think of it as a plot twist. It's not a second story, it's just the next part of the story for that character. Then, when you finish all of those, when you get to this point, that's when you could stop and have free time. So you cannot stop until you get here. If you get here and it's not 9:50, then you need to do these pages. But if you get here and it's already 9:50, which is the magic time, then you could stop and have free time. But this is required if you have extra time. But it does get you extra coins, okay? So, that being said, let me just show you some quick examples so that you can see how funny and entertaining this is supposed to be. So, these are real examples from former students. Somebody put me in their story. Screen face me. Just almost done. So, screen face me. Somebody put, if you give Mrs. Coates a candy stash, And they did just cause and effect. If I do this, then it leads to this. And then we have to do this. And notice how their pictures sort of kind of support what's happening in the story, but it's not perfect. This is if you give Frogrico a cat, because they thought that was funny. Like, what if we gave our class pet its own pet? Then it would lead to all sorts of shenanigans and weirdness and funny stuff, right? If you give, this one kind of is a dark one, and that's fine, because it's creative writing, and you get to do whatever you think is funny. If you give a monarch a muskrat, which is a type of rodent, so here's the muskrat, but it leads to this craziness. A little bit of guts and gore are fine in creative writing because it's fictional. It's not real, so that's totally okay. This one's more of a cute one. If you want to go that route, that's totally fine. If you give a sloth a slumber party, and again, it's kind of like follows the normal format, which you don't have to do. And the last example, and then I'll be done. Oh, just kidding. That one didn't work, but that's okay because you saw enough examples. So, what questions do you have for me about your, if you give a blank, Yeah. Yeah, so that is part of your grade, but it's just as easy as stealing one from Google. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to support the story a little bit. Other questions? Yeah.
Does it have to start with the same letter?
It does not. So that is how it is in the original, but for yours, do whatever you think is funny and entertaining. Yep. So go ahead and get started.